Hello techies, welcome to the day 7 of my 100 days coding challenge, and today I'm talking about the increment and the decrement operator in JavaScript. From the pronunciation, you already know that increment means to add to something, while decrement means to reduce something. So let's go to our VS Code. I'm going to take this out from the last class. I'm just going to take this out. Oops. Okay, I'm going to comment this out. Then I'm going to write this here, increment. So if you visit shopping websites like Zara shopping websites where you want to buy clothes, or Amazon, or any shopping websites that you want to get items, you always see a place that says add to cart. That box will display how many items you have in that cart, and when you take an item out of it, the number reduces. So I'm going to show you how the increment operator is being done. Let me say, let's add to cart. Let's add cart equal to 10. So what I'm indirectly doing here is assigning the value of 10 to add cart. Previous class, I told you that the variable is the wallet that stores the value. So whatever you give, you assign to the variable becomes the value. Okay. So I'm going to come here and say add cart plus plus. Plus plus means that the value is going to increase by 1. So we already have 10 here, meaning that we are going to be seeing 11 in our console. So this is how you write the increment operation. It's no more than this. I'm going to go to our console. I'm going to come here and say console.log add cart to see this in the console. Add cart. Let's go to our browser. We inspect, you right click, go to inspect, then the console. So as you can see, we have 11 there. So take note that the increment operator only adds 1 to a value. So plus plus will give you 1, just 1. You're not going to see more than 1. So let's check this out. We're going to have 2 because it only adds 1. The next thing to say is the decrement operation. The decrement operation is reducing something from a value. You are reducing a number from a value. So that's what the decrement operation does. The decrement operator allows you to reduce from an item. And this is how you initialize that. Because we are reducing from the cart, so I'm going to use the variable reduce cart, just so we are straight with this. I'm going to assign this to 2. Okay. Then we say reduce cart minus minus, because of course we are reducing, we are minusing from the number we already have. So I'm going to console.log reduce cart. Go to our console to check it out. Reduce cart. Then we save this, go to our console. And of course, we are going to have 1 because 2 minus 1 is 1. And yes, we have 1. So if I come here and add another figure, you see that this will be 7 because 8 minus 1 will give you 7. And this is how we do the decrement operation. It's no more than this. I'm going to build something. I'm going to give an example. And we're going to assume that's our cart. So I'm going to create something real quick, just a rough work to explain what I have been saying so far. Just little CSS and maybe just 6 lines of HTML to give you an understanding of what I have been saying. So as you can see, I have just designed a simple user interface to explain to us the increment and decrement. I use the plus to represent the increment while the minus to represent the decrement. The next thing I'm going to do is to call them into JavaScript using the query selector and targeting their class name. Then I'm going to execute a click method on them. Then I'll go to our JS where I'll be writing the code. I'm going to comment this out. Just going to do this. And then I'll call each of them, like I said, I'll call each of their class names here using the query selector. The first I'm calling is the plus, so I gave it a class name of add. And yes, this is how I'm going to call each of them here. Query selector, bracket, quotation, then dot add, because dot means I'm calling it by class name. The next element I'm going to call is the number. Yeah, the number, I also call it by its class name. Query selector, parentheses, dot number. The last one is the minus symbol. So I'll say let minus. I'm storing it in a variable. So you see, document dot query selector. Then I'm going to call the minus by its class name. So the next thing to do is to declare a variable. My variable will be storing whatever value that I give to it. If I give my variable 1, if I assign a value to my variable and I call it 1, my variable automatically becomes 1. So this variable is also going to be storing the new values after decreasing or after increasing. Whatever value that is new, that's what my variable will be storing. Now I'm going to add an event listener to my add button, which I have called into JavaScript, telling it to listen that when it's being clicked, it has a function to increase its value. So I'm going to say click. Remember, I put my click in double quotation. So in double quotes, I'm going to add the function. Its function is to add to its value anytime that it is being clicked on. Then I'll call the variable inside this function and then add the increment operator. Remember that the variable is storing a value and its work right now is to increase that value. I'm going to console.log the variable, console.log x in a parenthesis. Go to our console and see. You see that each time I click on the add button, that's the plus button, it increases its value by 1 because 1 is already been assigned to the variable. So you see this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It increases by 1 because that's what the increment operator does, increases value by 1. I change this to 0, I'll come here, then you see that it will start by 1. It will start with 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's what the increment operator does. Increases the value by 1. Now because I want my new values to always be showing in the UI, I'm going to call the box that I created for my new values. Remember I called the box here, I gave it a class name of number and I brought it here. I'm going to do a little bit of dumb manipulation by saying that number.inner text, the inner text should always change to x. So whatever x is holding, that's what will be displayed here. So you see this plus 2, 3. There is an increment going on here and it's showing in my UI, showing here because I created a space for it and I also called it here, so it will be static. You see it here, I called it number, I gave it 1, now I changed it to 0. So this is going to start with 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that's how it's done. Now I'm going to do the same thing for my minus button because I want it to be decreasing any value that is there. Now I called into JavaScript using its class name and I stored it in a variable called minus. I'm going to copy this and just change it from add to minus. Call the variable that is storing it. Then the operator, my operator will now be the plus, that is the decrement operator, that is the minus minus. And that is it. Now if I go to my UI and click on the minus button, See that there will be a decrement. See, so it's decreasing. If I increase it to 4, I decrease it to 3. So that's how you plot into your cart. And you see 3, then you know that you have 3 in your cart. Then when you delete, there's already a decrement going on. Then when you delete something, there will be a decrement. So that's how it's done basically. If you have been following up my challenge, you hear me say that the main purpose of JavaScript is to control, manage, and manipulate data. So you see that each data that we brought into JavaScript, that's the 3 data we brought into JavaScript, we have been able to manipulate them using the DOM manipulation also, which we'll discuss later in this challenge. So you see the increment and decrement is going on. And this is all for today, being the day 7 of this challenge. See you all in day 8. Bye.